Heather, owner of Tidy Style, will walk us through the thoughtful layout and product choices behind this beautifully designed pantry.
Okay, so wanted to be able to show the full pantry, including that beautiful archway. So again, just so you can get the lay of the land, that is where all the open shelving is for easy grab, okay? And then we have cabinetry on this side and a sink. So this is kind of your pantry tour of this beautiful new construction pantry. So when we do a pantry layout, we typically have decanted items at eye level and above, because access is obviously an issue when you're at eye level or above. So if you can see inside the container, that really helps. Visibility equals accessibility. So that's one of the principles with pantry organization, really with any organization, but especially with pantries. An exception that we made in this particular pantry is we have the cereal bins down here. We have some tricky dimensions in this space, so there wasn't a lot that could fit down there because of this lip here. So we did the cereal bins down low. That was kind of at the client's request. She wanted the kids to be able to access those, so that's how that turned out. But typically those would be up high with the other decanted items. So as you can see with this pantry, it is a long kind of galley style pantry. So typically when we use turntables in a pantry, we are putting those in the corners. That's just so that things don't get lost in the corners. Turntables work really well for that. But in this style of pantry, it made sense to have, we don't have corners, so we put them next to a bin just to fully utilize the space. So here we are with the breakfast zone with cereal, and then we come up here, we have more breakfast on the turntable. So oftentimes we'll have peanut butter, jams, jellies, all kinds of nut butters, and then we'll have one with syrups, etc. So that's kind of common breakfast turntable items. Here we have a breakfast bin that's got the pancakes and some different things. And then above breakfast, we have baking. So these are two baking bins. And here we have Jessica just using some Goo Gone, which is something that we use a lot in the process of the cleanup from organization. A lot of times the labels will leave a residue on the bin, so that's what's going on here. I am just gonna move over here. So on the bottom here, we used a basket from Target. This was, again, it's a very tricky dimension for baskets, and ideally we wouldn't leave any unused space. We really want to maximize the space. In this case, we had two different factors. Number one, the client was moving from a smaller home with a much smaller pantry, and so we didn't have to really maximize the space as much as we would if they were downsizing, for example. So they had a lot of extra space, so maximizing wasn't as much of an issue. But the thing was finding baskets or bins with these dimensions that would fit in here, which is really only 10 inches, was really a challenge. So yeah, so these worked well, and we knew that down low we wanted to have something that was woven so that you really couldn't see in, so it would hide a little bit of the visual noise, because when we look at food packaging, there's a lot of visual noise with that. So on up from there, we have these acacia stackers. So these are stackable acacia bins, and we will link all of our product in the notes for this video. But these work really well just to kind of create a fun snack zone. And kids love them because kids love to see everything. So it's exciting to be able to come into a space like this and right away see all of your fun snack options. And so they work really, really well for all single serve snacks. So bars things like chomps, etc. So that's what's going on there. And we stacked 2 high. You could easily stack 3 high if needed. So that's an option for the client if at any point she decides that they need to maximize the space a little bit more and increase the size of the snack zone. So we did use these fluted acacia bins. They are so pretty. They have this kind of fluted texture, which makes them really unique. And I think the tone worked really well with the green in the pantry. So there's kind of the snack zone. And I want you to see the floor too. It's just so pretty and unique. So over here, so we've got some drinks down below. And now we're into more of like the meal zone. So we've got a bin for grains, and then we've got a turntable for dressings and sauces. Same thing down below. So when we talk about turntables, what typically works best on turntables is round. So round on round. If you have square boxes, we typically would not put those onto a turntable. Even if it was like square broth boxes, those would go just on the shelf, would be just fine. I think, again, when it comes to turntables, we stick with round cans or bottles or jars for the most part. I mean, this is kind of an exception. This isn't round, but this makes sense on a turntable. And then above we have specialty baking and baking. And then on over here, so the baking zone is kind of going left to right in the pantry. That's okay. So then we have these decanted items and then more baking over here. We did leave the client some extra labels, so when she decides what goes in there, she'll be able to label it. And then again over here with the rest of the baking.
Every detail in this pantry was designed to be both beautiful and functional, proving organization can truly elevate the entire home. A pantry like this doesn't just store your essentials, it transforms the way your home feels every single day. Tell us your favorite feature of this beautifully organized pantry in the comments below.